Welcome to Carboload. This is Cosmic Lumberjack.
And this is Cade and I. No, I don't want to say that. Keep that. No, that's fine. That's my YouTube channel.
All right, and we are just going to be talking about whatever we want to talk about. So, Cade, what do you want to talk about
today? Let me just put in my, this is not a product placement. A fully loaded alpha nootropic pouch.
You ever make a recent video about that?
No, I didn't. I'm thinking about it, but
Thinking about it.
yeah. You know Zins?
Zins? What is Zins?
For like the nicotine pouches, you like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you like stuff them.
Nootropics is like kind of like what? Like I thought that was similar to like mushrooms.
In a way, basically nootropic. It's like just brain drugs or brain. Yeah. I think it is brain drugs, but it's kind of like a like industry term at this point. That's like a marketing term.
See, I don't trust nootropics. I saw one video about it, and then it was just like explaining like some of the stuff, and it like wasn't NDA approved. But I mean, like besides that, it was like
FDA.
Yeah, FDA. Yeah. NDA, FDA. Well, yeah. What is that NDA then?
Non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah. Okay, that's funny then. No, but FDA then. There was like one drug that was like not. That was like beta carotene. And that's not in that.
I think it's that's a thing that turns into vitamin A.
Okay.
I think it's beta carotene.
So maybe, yeah, okay. Maybe it was something else, though. I can't even think of that. But, like, so it was like there was something about it that was just like, maybe I should, like, wait on this. But, like, still, I have it in the other room because it was, like, the mind thing. And then there was another one that was, like, affecting your mood. And like a bunch of other stuff, but I was still like a little skeptical of it because it wasn't approved by the FDA.
Well, that's what like with supplements. Like supplements, they don't need to be approved by the FDA.
Yeah,
and they specifically say on it, not approved by the FDA.
Right.
But like I think there is like nootropic is just a term that means something that like improves brain function. I think in some way. This one there's actually another one that has caffeine in it, but I don't want to have caffeine when it's late.
Yeah, right. Caffeine a little late is not as good as what you should have early in the morning, at least an hour before or an hour after you wake up.
But this one, it has alpha GPC, which I think is why it's called alpha, L-tyrosine, and then GABA. L-tyrosine, I think it's in a lot of like energy drinks.
Okay.
I think it probably helps with focus, based on what the label says. Sports memory, focus, and calm.
I'm curious now. I want to see. Hold on. Let me just like talk about something for 5 seconds. I'm just going to grab what you eat.
Okay. Well, I got this because I wanted to feel cool and pretend like I'm doing Zins because you can pack your lip with them. But also after I got them, I started to find out that they are anything you pack in your lip actually like can fuck up and like cause cancer in your lip just because the irritation of your gums. Also, someone told me that it might cause your teeth to fall out, but I would imagine. Oh, you got Alpha Brain.
Alpha Brain, yes.
Dude, that shit.
I hadn't taken this yet, but I saw that there was L-tryptophan.
Okay.
What do you know about L-tryptophan?
L-tryptophan, I don't know. I know tryptophan. I think that's an amino acid, and I think that's the one that's in turkey that makes you fall asleep. What is that one you're looking at?
This one is the new mood one, mood and relaxation, while the other one, which is Alpha Brain, has the alpha thing you were talking about, the L-alpha.
Okay, that's probably why they're both called alpha.
Yeah.
Also, alpha is just like a marketing term because you want to feel like an alpha male, so they just put alpha and shit.
Well, so buy that shit.
Nah. The Alpha Brain, I don't use it all the time just because I don't want to keep buying it, but I'll use it when actually I did used to take it before podcasts.
Yeah,
just to like lock in.
And it helps.
So like I didn't do like a test on myself. I didn't know how I could test it to see how well it would help. At school, I would take it before like finals and shit. And I just need to like really like, I want to get the most out of my brain. I would take that stuff. It's Joe Rogan's. I don't know if it's his company.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's his company or if he's just associated with it. He definitely makes money on it, but he takes it before like every podcast.
Okay, he's not helping. Yeah. So why did you take it before tests? Were you just like anxious, or did you have trouble concentrating?
Not the mood one.
Not the mood one.
Yeah, memory. That one because it helps memory and focus. and it's supposed to, like, Joe Rogan, what he says is it helps when he takes it. He doesn't have those times when he's like trying to think of a word, and you just like, you know, the word like you're trying to think of, but it's not coming to your head, and you just get stuck on it. You know, you ever have that like, what's the word for, like, he has less of those things.
Moments, when you take L-tryptophan, or not L-tryptophan, alpha brain.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what's in that stuff. What's the proprietary blend?
It seems that it's cat claw. Do you know what cat claw is?
I think it's a mushroom. I could be wrong though.
There's L-tyrosine and
those two.
L-theanide.
You know what? I think that one is in energy drinks. L-tyrosine might not be in energy drinks.
Okay.
Or I guess they could be. It just depends on what you get.
Yeah. So, all right. So from what I'm hearing right now, alpha brain seems like it's okay, but then what I've done in the past research-wide, new mood seems to be a little, the brightest on it seems to be a little sketchy, but I mean, that's for you guys to decide right now, but it doesn't really matter because I haven't tested both of these. I've just seen some videos on it.
Well, that's the argument with like supplements. Like, they're not approved by the FDA, so like, what do you, like, how do you know they work? Like, they're not approved by the FDA.
I've seen, the only reason that I've seen some stuff that said, like, you know, you really shouldn't take any supplements unless you really need it for your diet, which, like, I'm a vegan, so you need, like, I specifically need to take supplements or else I'm not going to get,
well, vitamins.
Yeah, they're supplements because it's like I take this one supplement that does like every vitamin for me, so it's like, yeah, it's pretty like intensive, like the amount of stuff it's in, but like, yeah, I mean, you know, I take that, but besides that, I don't really take anything else. I mean, I take like other stuff, but it's like still like, you know, I don't really like supplements as in terms of like that only includes like stuff that's like for like maybe like focus or like other stuff that's basically like could be medication otherwise, like drug wise, like supplements. The term supplement in terms of like just like in general for anything you take, like that doesn't include, or I guess it could include vitamins, but for this case we're just talking about like what else it's including, not vitamins. Just
outside of vitamins and minerals, you're saying. Well, I think, you know what, those do technically count supplement because you're supplementing your diet.
That's why I said that. Yeah. Like, but otherwise, then what else would that include? Like, yeah, besides that, like the alpha brain, the new mood, and stuff like that, and yeah, like stuff you're taking. That. So
one supplement that I take now is ashwagandha. You heard of that one?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this root that it's one of the like most. It's a pretty common supplement out there, but it's the whole thing with it. At least for me, the reason I started taking it is because it boosts testosterone. But it doesn't directly boost testosterone. Like, what it does is it reduces cortisol. So like my mom actually started getting
stress. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, my mom got it because she wanted to reduce like her stress, but like with the lower cortisol, like the more cortisol you have, your testosterone goes down. I think it also does the same for estrogen as well.
Okay.
So yeah, did you know actually women have more testosterone than estrogen?
Oh, really? Like to have like such a high also estrogen?
Like they just have more estrogen than men. They also have less testosterone than men.
Yeah.
But the human body, like it, regardless, has more testosterone than estrogen. Just regardless of gender.
So in terms of like estrogen and testosterone, what are the effects of having like a lot of estrogen? If you know this, I don't know this. I'm just saying like, if you have like a lot of estrogen, what does that do to your body? And then a lot of testosterone, I feel like that, you know, a lot of, well, specifically in society and like also media, it's just portrayed as being angry. A lot of testosterone equals anger. A lot, that just means energy. A lot of like, you know. So what does estrogen, a lot of estrogen do to you?
One thing I'm pretty sure it does is, well, it like makes you have tits. Basically,
that's the only thing.
No, like that's the one thing that comes to mind for me. Just because, like, if you have higher estrogen as a male, like you're just gonna get more boobs. Like your boobs are gonna start getting bigger.
Yeah.
I think it actually it sends a signal to your body to produce more fat there. I think that's what it does.
Is it supposed to make you calmer at all, or is that supposed to just like make you more strategic? Because what I've heard is that like women are more thinking of the big plan and they use like the whole picture. Meanwhile, men just take and grab type deal, and that's because of testosterone. And then so like the bigger picture is like more being strategic about it. But I
don't know if that might just be the differences in brain and how men and females brain work. I don't think necessarily hormones.
Yeah.
Because if you like, I was gonna say this example, but I wouldn't know. But like, I'd imagine a female bodybuilder who's on steroids, taking testosterone, would still act in ways of that a female would think. Like, I think she'd still have the brain of a female, but like, she's gonna have those outbursts of that have roid rage. She's probably more likely to have. It's not necessarily anger; it's aggression. It also increases risk taking. Testosterone.
Yeah, I mean, overall, that increases your testosterone, which just increases your anger and your more like initiative to do stuff. Some people say it increases your confidence. So I guess taking testosterone, if you're just taking it, or steroid usage, for example, then that would just like take you to like, you know, kind of like increasing your estrogen over time if you do that. But if like you were saying just testosterone, like if a female takes testosterone, right?
So what's your question?
If you were just saying like if a female just took testosterone, not steroids, right?
I think technically testosterone is a steroid.
Yeah, right. But it's like not as much.
So
right?
Okay.
Or
when I say steroid, I'm assuming you say steroid, you mean an anabolic steroid. I don't think testosterone is an anabolic steroid. You say anabolics when you like say like, oh, you want to shoot up, take steroids.
Okay.
So something that's gonna, I think that means produce more muscle. Again, fucking doctor.
Yeah. We don't know.
So I'm just saying like what I've kind of came across.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. So say it again.
So no, what I was saying was like, yeah, if a female took a lot of testosterone, what would be like the scenario for that? Because I know that overall, if if a guy takes steroids, or I guess because I mean, we just talked about how like testosterone is, or anabolic testosterone, or taking it is the equivalent of steroids. What would happen overall? Because that would increase the estrogen, because your body would be depleted, or no, not necessarily. They would be like too much testosterone, so then the body produces more estrogen.
I don't think it's necessarily that it. I don't think it's necessarily that you have a shit ton of testosterone. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily your body senses a shit ton of testosterone, so it increases estrogen. I think what it does do is you take testosterone, and if you don't do it right, and you don't like, if you take a shit ton of testosterone once and you do it a lot, your body's gonna sense like, oh, we don't need to make testosterone, so we can just turn that off and start diverting that to another area. I guess that would be estrogen. So that's why I'm pretty sure like a lot of times people take testosterone and they don't do it correctly, and they don't have like a proper dosage doctor protocol. They take a shit ton, but later on in life when they stop taking it, they start getting tits and they start getting more classically feminine characteristics.
Yeah. Okay, no, yeah, that makes
ball shrinking, your testosterone, like that's a common thing. Your balls shrink when you take steroids because your body shut down making testosterone, I think.
But yeah, females have both high testosterone and both estrogen.
Not high testosterone. They have lower testosterone than men, but compared to the amount of estrogen they have more testosterone. So like, I'm just going to throw some numbers out there. So for a men average, it's definitely not this, but 500 for the average man, 500 nanograms, something, nanoliters, whatever the dosage is, 500 testosterone in men versus like 50 estrogen in men. A woman would have like 300 testosterone, but 200 estrogen.
So they have
Those numbers are just arbitrary.
The point being that estrogen is the lowest hormone that like females and males have, and it's like even though females
Just compared to those two.
Males are known for having testosterone, but females are known for having estrogen, even though females have more testosterone than estrogen. Yeah. Even though that's such a weird statement because it's assumed that they have more.
Everyone assumes, like, there's the common misconception that estrogen is the opposite of testosterone, but it's not. It's actually cortisol is. I'll take the back. It's not necessarily the opposite, but the more cortisol you get, the lower your testosterone goes. So it's not like your estrogen goes up, your testosterone goes down.
Because I've also heard, like, you know, if you don't have stress, then testosterone also goes down. So it's like, doesn't it need to also be a certain environment for, like, you need to have a certain level of stress too?
So, I'm not sure what you are talking about, like where you got that from, like what source, but what I think it would be is that if you have no stress on you, nothing.
Yeah. Like, you're like the lazy person, then like you're just like you're doing nothing, you're chilling in bed all day, and then like you still have a decent amount of testosterone.
So like one thing that increases testosterone is competition. So like when you're in competition with other people, your testosterone is going to go up.
Yeah,
I think that might be one of the sensory input is your cortisol is going to go up. So if your cortisol's going up from competition because you're stressed to try to figure out how to win, your testosterone's going up from the competition.
But that's not necessarily the main factor. That's just, it's a coincidence that, hey, you're stressed.
Yeah, I think it's
based on you thinking.
I would think it's correlated.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm thinking that it is like, you know, like my stress like also increases whenever I'm like, I want to do something of my own initiative, or like I'm like, all right, this is pretty stressful, but I'm like thinking of how to do this, and then it also, you know, could increase my testosterone because of it. But it's like still like, I don't know.
You know, you don't want zero cortisol. So having zero cortisol stress would maybe also fuck up your testosterone.
Yeah, because at that point, I mean, I'm just thinking for myself, like, I mean, a stress-free life is peaceful as fuck. I mean, everybody wants a stress-free life, but it's like, I mean, are you really going to want to do anything at that point? You're just going to want to like chill at that point. And I feel like that's the opposite of what testosterone is. But I mean, like, you know, maybe a lot of testosterone isn't necessarily good. Or, I mean, what are the benefits of a lot of testosterone to begin with? I mean,
some of the benefits are more risk-taking. Well, this isn't necessarily it's a benefit. One of the effects is more risk-taking.
Yeah. Okay.
Which could be benefit. It could be
perceived in a capitalist society that's beneficial.
Sometimes, but you could also be risk-taking in a stupid way.
Yeah.
If you take smart risks, you're going to have to take risks normally, but if you take smart risks, you're more likely to get a higher reward. So like if you could be really risky, like, oh, I'm going to jump off this cliff, but you could kill yourself. That's debatably a stupid thing to do. Or you could be risk-taking and starting a business, which if you're not willing to take the risk of investing the money, you're not at all going to get the reward of starting that business.
Right. Yeah, which is literally, like jumping off a cliff is like a huge exaggeration because that, I mean, like, I feel like that is like, it's almost like saying like, be really stupid or like be like patient with it. But it's like, there's two different ways to think about it, but it's like, so saying like you don't have any testosterone and like you not making a decision to jump off the cliff and like kill yourself, that is a high, like that's high estrogen, or that's just low testosterone, not even high estrogen.
I don't think it's related to estrogen, but
it's just low testosterone to not jump off a cliff
or just the brain.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I would jump off a cliff if I knew it was safe.
Cade, have you ever done that?
Jump off a cliff? No.
Oh. Don't mean to flex my high testosterone. Yeah, I've done it.
Because,
yeah, no. The only reason I've done it was because I saw somebody else do it. And because I saw somebody else do it, I was like, all right, if they did it and they survived. And like, it wasn't just one person. It was like 3 people. And I was like, they were all older than me. And it was really fucking high. But like, also, they all were okay. And then I was like, okay, I could do this multiple times. I ended up doing it multiple times. But still, it was like, they were all okay. Yeah. And then I was like, all right, I got this at this point. If I've seen it, if it was my first time doing that without any recognition, that cliff got closed actually like maybe like a month after I did it because somebody got injured and died. So it just depends. Maybe I got lucky. It's just how I would reacted to seeing how other people did it, and maybe that was peer pressure, but also I was like estimating
Competition. Your
Competition.
testosterone went up.
Everybody I went with was okay. So that's why I was like, okay. I mean, like, yeah, we were all okay. It doesn't matter. Like, we were fine. So then that's also like a factor that plays into it. So it's like, yeah, if nobody came before me, I wouldn't have done that. So maybe my testosterone, maybe my testosterone wouldn't have went up. But still, it's like, it was a cool thing to do, and we set out to do that to begin with. So, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
So it's different, but still, it's like, you know,
There's a lot of factors going into jumping off a cliff.
yeah, to say the least. Yeah, nobody wants to do that, even if you think you have high testosterone. I mean, yeah, you need to have safety regards, but it's like taking a risk like that. I mean, that probably also decreases the amount of testosterone I have, knowing that I had a safeguard in there. Because it was like, okay, somebody else did it, so then now I'm okay doing it. So it's like, maybe that wasn't increasing the level of testosterone. It was just like keeping it the same amount I had. It was just,
It may not have affected testosterone at all. You logically thought through it.
Yeah.
And maybe not interfered to your physical body.
yeah. Which is exactly, yeah. Which is what I think.
Could have.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know how this thing works, the brain. But it's like, still, yeah, it's like, we don't know all the mechanics or what's going on in your brain when something like that happens. So then that's why it's like also like interesting too. But still, regardless of that, it's still interesting with like hormones and stuff like that. So we still don't know from this podcast what estrogen does, but it's interesting.
Well, do you want one of these? Can I tackle it? An apple decorator of the dome?
I mean, would this alpha brain be like the same thing?
That would take longer to set it. Like, this is going right into your bloodstream because you're putting it in your gum, and it just is faster.
Compared to the conversations we had now and in the past, like before you took that, how do you feel?
I honestly can't tell.
You could, okay,
But it's mango, so it tastes.
it's mango, yeah. But
But
I'm not gonna take it.
I'm just gonna stick it out there and see if this motivates you well.
Yeah,
No.
Just because I am also like, you know, I am consuming alcohol, and also because I have a thing against caffeine. I feel like that doesn't already affect me enough. But I mean, like,
There's no caffeine.
oh yeah, no, I know not, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, for an example, that's like another drug that's
That's technically a nootropic, caffeine.
yeah, okay. So maybe nootropics just don't work for me. But also, I'm just saying,
Well, it's a broad term.
broad term as in like affects the brain.
Like nootropic is just, it means technically it's a drug because everything we consume is technically a drug.
So is it alcohol and nootropic?
Depends on how you look at it.
Is weed a nootropic?
Depends on how you look at it.
Because it
Also
like
depends on the person.
weed affects your brain more than alcohol. Long term though, like,
You think?
yeah, short term alcohol affects you more short term, but like long term weed affects you, and then it's
Maybe mentally.
mentally, yeah.
I like because alcohol does kill brain cells, but you are able to, we now know, grow new brain cells. But weed, yeah, some people can start schizophrenia. I think it's
Oh, with weed,
because like
but not with like
I think that's the one thing that's like they don't really know why, but if you're predisposed to schizophrenia, like if you have it in your family, smoking weed might activate it in you.
Oh, okay.
Also, I think it's been like shown that like does increase overall anxiety for people.
Yes, I've heard that it increases anxiety. I saw this one video that was like, a sketch that was like funny because it was just like using that as like the main premise of like they smoke weed in it, and then it was like a game bar, and it was like paranoia increases all the way to the top.
Outside of when you're smoking it, not just this.
Outside, okay.
Like there's on Joe Rogan, there's this guy who wrote a book. It's like, warn your kids. And it's like, for the longest time, everyone's like, legalize weed. Like, it's not harmful to you, like, at all. Like, it's legal just for other reasons. Like, they just made it illegal for no reason. There's no scientific basing. I believe it's less harmful than alcohol, but it also isn't harmless.
Yeah. So what do you think it is harmful for?
It could be beneficial for some people. It could,
Yeah, I agree with that. PTSD and stuff like that, and especially people with anxiety can benefit from weed. But for the person who doesn't have PTSD or the person who doesn't have like anxiety, and they just like smoking weed, but like, what would you say to that? And like,
well, some people, it could help you get to sleep if you have really bad sleep. Some people just work really well with weed and they're able to smoke and be more creative, be able to dial in and just do work for long periods of time. Me, I smoke and I'm like, I can do work after, but then I just can't because I'm like, my brain just like, I don't want to do that. Let me do nothing.
I've seen a lot of media portray people who smoke weed as in like people who have ADHD, and they have like really hard time focusing
On weed?
Yeah. Well, like specifically like the stuff I've seen on like media and like certain like films and like TV shows, whenever they smoke weed, it's just like they have a really difficult time focusing. So then they just like can't keep up. And I mean, maybe they can, like in general, I'm switching the topic to like, well, now I'm just saying like, okay, yeah, no, people can focus. It's just like, I mean, that's going to last like an hour or an hour and a half because then you're going to come down from the high. And that's being realistic unless you're taking edibles, because you're going to feel tired after and you're not going to be high anymore and then you're not going to want to be interested in the conversation. But I mean, yeah, like if you're just like, I don't know, it was a Grey's Anatomy episode.
Oh, right.
They were just smoking weed and then they were just really focused in what they were doing. That might have been the first time they were all smoked weed and stuff, but still, it was like, that's how like some industries think about weed. They're like, yeah, more focused on like it feels like it's ADHD where you lose focus of other stuff and you don't know what you're doing, or you move fast between topics and you're like, oh hell, let me switch topics maybe, like not even staying focused. That's what I meant to say. Like you lose focus for the most. Yeah. I know I said like ADHD and then I said like really focused, but I meant like you lose focus fast.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know there's one of the things with weed is it affects something in your brain where like when you have an idea, like, you have these high thoughts like, yo, that'd be a great idea. We should write this down. And then you see it afterwards, like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
Like, that was not smart at all. The thing with that is like, whatever it does to your brain, like it causes thoughts to just feel more prevalent. Like they have more meaning behind it. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well.
No.
Like there's more, like it's more likely to sound like a really sick idea than if it was said when you're sober.
It's more of like a perspective wise, like your perspective is like, wow, that is actually genuinely cooler than what it would have been if I didn't smoke weed.
Yeah.
And like, if you didn't smoke weed, you wouldn't have even like given that thought a second chance. You would have drawn it to the side.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden you're like entertaining this thought for like an hour. And it's like, wow, I'm staring at the grass because I'm thinking about the contemplation of like why grass is formed. And it's like, what?
It seems really cool, but like normally you wouldn't even think.
Yeah, like why would I think about grass? Like, like, because mainly this, I feel like the thought process behind that is like, yeah, like weed is a relaxation drug, and you're just like experiencing it for the time being. And it's like, when we're in the open world like this, we're thinking of things that also benefit how we progress overall in our future. So then, like thinking about something like grass doesn't really benefit us too much. And it's like, nah, I'm not going to make a future out of grass, even if I think really hard about it. But it's like, yeah, the endorphins, the dopamine level is increasing. So you're able to think about whatever you want to think about. And it won't decrease your level of dopamine because it's still increasing based on the amount of THC you're taking. So then you could really entertain any thought you want and it'll still be entertaining for you. So then it's just like, I don't know if that's not necessarily healthy when you want to live in a society where you have to be productive, you have to like do stuff. I mean, speaking in a physical capitalist society, and in the United States. I mean, maybe in other places, it's could be better, or like at least when you're retired, maybe that's what is the most beneficial thing to do. I mean, yeah, but like,
I don't even say it's beneficial. I think it's just you're retired. You don't have anything to worry about.
yeah, I mean, besides your lungs, at that point, if you're retired, your lungs is the only thing you need to worry. You can only take edibles. It's still,
Yeah.
you know, it's like at that point, then it's like, yeah, you could do whatever you want. You could smoke weed, and then it's like, yeah. So that's the only reason I have a problem with weed right now, where it's just like, yeah, you can focus on any thought, even if it's not really beneficial for your main story. You have a story right now. You have main things you have to worry about right now. And then it's like, we just brings all these other factors in that are just like, maybe not related, but like also your brain can just entertain the fuck out of it. And like, takes so long to like to entertain it. So yeah, I mean, that's just on the topic of like drugs. I mean, so that's why society is accepting alcohol as the basis for things.
Well, I think with alcohol, the reason why that's accepted is because that was an industry making a shit ton of money. And the reason why I think weed was illegal was there's this guy in like the early 1900s. I think he owned a shit ton of media, or he owned like newspapers. And like that was made out of paper from trees. But there was hemp at the time, which like that was already used like in ropes. That was like an amazing material. Like industrial hemp is insane. Like you can make really durable clothing. You can make really like cool shit out of it. But this guy, I forgot his name. He started like demonizing it and connecting it to weed so he could get it to be illegal. So no one could use hemp as paper. Because that paper, I think he owned like paper company, and he wanted to demonize hemp so his industry wouldn't get fucked over. And they just evolved into propaganda to like say, oh, marijuana is the, what's it called?
Devil.
Devil. But there was something, there's like some movie, I forgot what it was called. Maybe if I take some alpha brain and remember, but.
You didn't take it, guys. Don't lie.
Forgot what it was, but it was some movie where they're like, "Oh, weed. If you smoke it, you're gonna become a killer. You're gonna start killing people." Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like old white.
So the thing that whenever you say something like that, I think of my crime and society class that I took at Impulse, and it basically suggested that whenever people took weed, it was a minority, and the government made some rules and regulations pertaining to stopping minority groups from progressing based on weed. And that was one of the actual things. It was like, because minority groups used weed a lot, that either the federal government or it was more the city and local in New York City used that to try and like stop minority groups from progressing a lot. And it was maybe not all like specifically, it wasn't true, like all the stuff they were saying, but it was like, it was just something they could use to like hinder them.
Well, one of the things, it was a really prominent in, I guess, Hispanic Mexico at the time, and they connected it. I think they did connect with minorities and like use that to demonize weed, or the other way around, one of the two. But like at the time, like they made it seem like, oh, you're gonna start killing people if you start weed, taking weed. Like they did with some other drugs, like like psilocybin and music mushrooms. I don't know.
Yeah, which are more like impactful, but I mean, like, as dangerous still, but like, I mean, but weed and shrooms both are dangerous, but it's still like, comparatively speaking, I would feel like.
Well, we're demonizing for the wrong reasons. Like, it's illegal, I think, and I think they should be able to do studies and find the benefits of it.
There is just not enough research based on it, and it's like, maybe,
Well, what's the research saying why it should be illegal?
Yeah, I mean, because it's like everybody's okay with it because basically like people aren't dying. That's the one thing that's like, okay, as long as people aren't dying, then it's okay. But it's like, yeah, maybe there should be other factors considered, like maybe their emotional health or like, how they're doing, unless like.
Oh, well, to take it. I think the reason why it is illegalized psychedelic drugs is because of the hippie movement, and they wanted to shut that shit down because that went against the war.
Yes, I remember what you were saying, because it makes you change your mindset, and the government didn't want you to change your mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. And they also, I think they just were trying to demonize hippies, so they demonized that as well. Or they kind of knew what that was doing. I mean, people used psychedelics for millennia to come with new ideas.
Yeah.
There was like freaking the Greek philosophers. You ever hear of the not Mycenaean, the something mysteries? There's like this place that there was like a secret society where all these philosophers would come. Like the guys who invented the how do you figure out the A squared plus B squared equals C squared? What's that equation called?
Pythagorean theorem.
Pythagoras. He went here, and they would all come up with like, yo, like they basically, the people who invented modern math, science, geometry, everything, like philosophy from that came from these guys who used to go in secret society, meet at this place.
As you probably sure.
Discuss their ideas. They actually, I'm pretty sure it's like 100% confirmed. I think it's like a class at like Harvard. There's some college class somewhere.
Yeah.
Where they talk about this. But they had wine there. I think it was called Curacos, something like that. But it was a wine infused with this some kind of grain. And the grain has been known, to have a fungus on it. A fungus grows on it that has psychedelic effects.
Is that still a thing right now?
I'm pretty sure.
Let's do that.
Oh, actually, so that fungus is actually how they derived LSD. So they took the thing in there, and then I think you process it and it turns to LSD.
Yeah.
So they think like they put this grain into this wine, diffuse into the wine, they drink it, and they had psychedelic experiences. They actually found, I think, the fungus in like the chalices that they would drink out, or whatever things they would drink out of.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're like, yeah, these guys just tripped balls and talked about math, science, life, and just came up with everything.
I mean, yeah, that does make sense. That people coming up with like something that you've never come up with. I mean, to begin with, like you're restricted to like a thought that is like, okay, I can't think of this, and this because it's restricted to the Bible, or like, but that was before the Bible.
Before the Bible.
Yeah. But it was still like restrictive to the religion, as in like, was it polytheism, or believing in multiple gods? You know, they still believed in like.
I don't know why they went in secret. It might have been more of a government thing. I don't think it was necessarily a religion thing.
Religion and government were kind of tied back then, where they kind of had to like, whatever they believed was also like tied to like the government. So it was like, if you believe something else, I mean, like I'm just comparing this to like Christianity and like being an atheist. Like if you thought there was no God back when there was, or like when you like in medieval times in like Christianity and like a Christian state, and it's like, yeah, you're gonna get executed probably, or you need to like do something like. So I'm just comparing it to like that, where it was like that, like enforcive, and it's like, I mean, I'm just assuming it would be like similar, but still, it's like that. That's a good reason for it to be in secret. That it's like, yeah, they were taking like these things that like change your mind, where it's like, yeah, okay, maybe they're like, we'll keep this on the DL, even though it like really makes us woke and like see what everything really is like.
Well, I think to go to the thing with Christianity and government, like they were basically one and the same at the time. But
yeah, that's true.
Rome, I think they were very tolerant of religion. Like all the different gods, the reason why there's so many different gods is because each god was like worshipped different places. Like whenever they conquered a new area, if they had a god there, they're like, oh yeah, sure, you're God. That's a god.
So what was the god of like France and Spain and like?
So it's not necessarily the area. I don't know about all that. No, like not. What do you mean? What time?
No, yeah. I'm just talking about where they claimed Britannia, and when they claimed Gaul and Iberian Peninsula and
Gaul, I'd imagine would be German. I don't know.
The Germanic gods. They incorporated the Germanic gods.
Well, like the further you go back, the harder it is to like kind of like say like what these gods were. But like they would like. So the thing I think the reason why they persecuted Christians, Catholics, Christians, well, they're all Christians, but like, I think, so originally they were like, oh, you worship this God, Christ, Yahweh, whatever, like to say, oh,
Was it the singular? No, like
they didn't want to say like, no, this is the only God. All the other gods you're talking about, those are false gods. Those aren't real gods. But Rome, whenever they conquered a people, I don't think they really cared so much that you worship someone else. They said like, oh no, like Zeus is kind of like the shit, but like, sure, you worship him. You worship whoever you want. He could be in the pantheon. That's why there's so many different gods, because there's so many different religions.
But also, like, there were a lot of, like, Germanic culture was a lot different than Roman culture. So, like, why didn't, per se, like, the reason I watched a video on why the Roman Empire, like, hypothetically speaking, like, the AI created why Roman Empire didn't fall. But it was suggesting that, like, Germanic culture was added to Roman culture, and I was just curious as to why, like, you know, specifically, I mean, wouldn't that already happen? Like, why wouldn't Roman culture already incorporate German culture? Was it just because Romans saw themselves as superior and they were ethnocentric and didn't like outsiders and their ideas? And it's like at that point that it's like the Germanic tribes weren't conquered, so then they didn't incorporate their gods.
So I think they were just a strong fucking force and they couldn't conquer them. Because like the further you got north, I think they just they knew the territory better. Like how, like when like the people first came to colonize America, they got destroyed by the fucking Native Americans. Like eventually we kicked their ass, but
because diseases.
Well, actually, yeah, that's how we killed them all, through fucking diseases.
Yeah, there was no diseases that could kill Germany.
They were so much better than us. Like, oh yeah, we had guns, we had muskets, but it takes fucking like a whole minute to reload that. The Native Americans, they just keep like firing bows. Like bows were superior to guns until we learned how to reload faster, get a revolver, like just yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Just like based on Native Americans, just like going, they have a lot of bows, and
a lot of bows, they could easily quickly reload that. And like, okay, yeah, you could fire a bullet with gunpowder, and that might go super fast, but a bow is gonna still kill you. Like we would kill for thousands of years with a bow.
Yeah. Which is like, you know, the best weapon to kill people in medieval times, actually.
What?
You guess. Before the bow, I mean, I guess bows excluded because bows were obviously the best.
Okay, so we're talking
about the best,
sling, rock and sling.
I mean, I don't know if those were actually a medieval weapon that people used, but it was actually the spear.
Oh,
basically, what swords are overrated because people did not use swords as nearly as much as people think, because it was just like, all right, all you need to do to train peasants to fight is just give them a really big stick.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's all you need to do, because it's just like, they can just reach really far and then just kill anybody. And it's like swords, you really need to be close combat. You need a strong metal to also like fight somebody, but it's like, a spear is going to be a little more like deadly than anything else. Excluding bows, because then they're just projectiles and you can use them for specifically that. So that's the main line of defense for like a lot of people in medieval times.
The spears cheaper too. All you need the metals for the spearhead.
Yeah. You just need, like, honestly, like, did you even need the spearheads for like arrows? Or I guess you kind of did, but like still it wasn't as deadly when you did that.
That's basically what a bow is. A bow is just able to throw a spear a lot farther and faster.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, or like, because the edge of the bow, I mean, like, the tip of it is kind of metal flint. Minecraft reference, but like, we don't know what a regular bow would like have. Would it be flint?
No, they're probably metal at that point.
They're probably metal at that point.
They're probably stone for a while.
But like spears are just useful because they're like, they can reach really far, and it's like the only other defense is like a shield, and then it's like you need shields made of metal to defend something like that, or else it's like not gonna work. Yeah.
That's what the at least Sparta had. I'm sure all the Greeks had it. You ever see 300?
Yeah, I think I saw the actual sequel to that, but I never saw 300.
So I'm sure that.
And then I saw a parody of 300.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. but I never saw the actual thing. But it was like, yeah, I assume they were doing the same thing. Where
Yeah, they make a shield wall, and then when they came in, they would have people either behind or they would open up the shield a bit and just pull the spear out.
Yep, they use that in Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Then. Yeah. So then that's what they would do. So it's like it's more efficient too than a sword because it's just like that's more of a royalty thing. It was either a royalty thing or if you were a knight, then you were like, okay, I was declared a knight, so then I'm just gonna hold it. So then it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Still, yeah, no, what were we talking about before this? Because that was more interesting.
We were talking about psychedelics and like religion.
Religion, okay, was it religion?
Let's try that far. I want to go back. Because I was talking about psychedelics, and then we went into the Greek philosophers, how they went to this place.
Yeah.
Then they started taking like a psychedelic drink. Oh, we started talking about drugs.
Okay, I think it was the Romans that were conquering the different...
And they accepted the gods.
And they accepted the gods. Yeah. And it was like, I was asking why they didn't accept the certain gods of the Germanic tribes, even though they didn't even conquer them to begin with. And it was like, yeah, why didn't they just like reach out to that? I mean, that was the AI that was like, if they just accepted them right away, they would have just like extended the Roman Empire like so much further.
I think one of the things is like they thought they were just like lesser people because they were more brutish and shit.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting how like, I mean, specifically, we are Americans, guys, if you didn't know that, but like, we come from Dutch people, the Anglo-Saxons.
Maybe you.
Yeah. Which, surprising to Cade, the Anglo-Saxons are also related to the Norwegians, I think, because the Norwegians also were a part of Britain, and
all the times where you're going.
I mean, the Anglo-Saxons were like, kind of, Denmark was so close to Norway and Sweden. So it was just like, they're kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, they're all Scandinavian.
Like, yeah. So
those were the Germanic, that's like where the Germanic tribes like ended up.
So if you want to call like, because Germany, and then there's also like the Dutch, is like
Germany, I think, that eventually was conquered by Rome. The area of Germany.
It was like half of Germany, but yeah, it was like,
at least, yeah.
After the Roman Empire fell, it was like a bunch of random shit. It was,
yeah.
And then they decided to call it the German Holy Roman Empire, but that really wasn't the Holy Roman Empire. That was just a bunch of random Germanic states.
Yeah.
But the only two languages that really came out of that were Dutch and Germany, and I think Austrian is still German too. It's still.
And they spoke German.
Yeah, so there was like.
It was a different dialect.
Yeah. There was 5 different languages that came out of that, or maybe there was 6. There was English, Dutch, German.
Norwegian,
Swedish. Maybe there was Finnish. I don't know if that was also related to Russian at that point.
Yeah, that's Scandinavia. Actually, no, that language is so different. I saw something comparing like the 4 Scandinavian countries, like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Finland.
Okay.
And like, apparently, like Norwegians and Swedish people, if they talk, they can speak in their language and they can kind of just understand each other. Because, like, the language is so similar that, like, oh, that kind of sounds weird. I'm sure, once you're older, like, you kind of have heard someone speak Swedish, so you know the words. But, like, you could understand a little bit because, like, one of them says, like, hi is, like, so similar. Like, it's, like, I don't know.
That's, like, the same with, like, us and Dutch people because, like, we can kind of understand Dutch.
Really? I don't think I've heard Dutch.
I've heard Dutch before, and it's like I've heard like certain words sound so similar to English. It's like, wow, I kind of know what they're saying, but not really.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like English, but in another accent. But it's not another accent. They're like saying it's so different.
Yeah,
that we can't even tell that it's another language. Like that's how, and it's probably spelled differently too.
What country is
Dutch? Dutch is going to be Belgium and Denmark. I think it's part of Belgium, actually. I don't know if it's fully Belgium.
Is Belgium the country, or is that
Belgium?
Is Netherlands a country, or is that another name for something?
So the Netherlands, that might actually be another country too, in between Denmark and Belgium. Yeah, because there's
Amsterdam. Amsterdam
is part of Denmark. I think, yeah, but there's a lot of tiny countries in between. there's a lot of tiny countries in between Germany and France. I want to say 3. I know Liechtenstein is probably smallest one. That's just in between.
I saw a video, something like, what is Liechtenstein or something?
Yeah. It was just like I saw a video explaining why it's even a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw all those videos too. Like there's a
I
ton.
kind of want to go there just to like, because you never hear about Liechtenstein.
Yeah. I wanted to make a video on Liechtenstein, like one of my videos, but it's just like, it's more just like, European politics, so it's not going to be as interesting. So I looked up the news articles and I was like, I'm not intrigued. I'm not going to like find anything that interesting, but I mean, it still could be good, but still, yeah. So like, there's a lot of Germanic speaking countries. There's Austria. I want to say Hungary also could have. Do they speak?
Is Turkish language?
There's the Turkish language. Yes, that's a lot further east. But
Is the Baltic countries?
Those are different the countries. That's like Bulgaria. Bulgarian, I think might be a language. I haven't researched that specific country, but I know they have a huge tie to the Ottoman Empire, which is Turkey.
Are their language not Germanic or Roman?
No. Yeah, no, they're completely different. Romania was actually very isolated. They should be a Baltic country, but they're very tied to the Latin countries because just how they it ties to Portugal, Spain, France, Italy. Yeah, Rome. Yeah. But yeah, they were very isolated with that. But they, the rest of the countries in the region, because Czech Republic. That's what it was. Czech Republic also, I feel like it was. It was 2 countries that combined after Austria-Hungary fell, and
Slovenia,
Czechoslovakia,
and then they split.
Yeah. I think they both had a decent amount of German population, but then the German population left after a while, and then they were like, okay, the Germans are gone, so now Germany can't claim our country, so we can form our own countries at that point. And that was their main reason for forming together. Which is, that's a good reason to form a pact with another country and form a bigger country, because it's like, Russia's invading Ukraine based on the fact that there's Russians in Ukraine. So it's like kind of scary. I mean, the only reason they're invading actually is because Moldova has Transnistria, which Transnistria is a smaller part of Moldova, but they claim to be Russian. Their identity, they want to be Russian. Which is like, that's why a lot of people are like, Putin is saying okay, they're Russian, so we got to claim that shit right now, this instant. And it's like, that's his reason. But it's like, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of other reasons for why he wants to, because it's beneficial for gaining power over the flat lands that enter the main defensible region for his country. That's the only thing he needs to worry about, really. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just scary. But that's another reason why you want to invade another country, because there's your population, your ethnicity is in that region. You want to invade that because there's your people.
You belong with daddy.
Yes. The Falkland Islands?
Heard of, I don't know where they are.
The Falkland Islands are in actually South America, and they were colonized by the Great Britain, United Kingdom, and they're on the coast right by Argentina, and Argentina claimed those islands right when they had independence. Actually, I don't know if it was by when they had independence, but they wanted those islands, and Great Britain was like, no, because our colonists are actually identifying as United Kingdom citizens. They want to be United Kingdom citizens. So we're going to defend. And so they actually did. And they Argentina was like, what? You guys are defending this shit? This is that's 4,000 miles away from you guys, or more than that. But why are you guys defending this? And it was because they colonized it, and it was the people there actually identify as United Kingdom. I don't know if it was in actually more recent, in the 90s.
Really?
You were the 70s.
Still, 1900s.
Yeah.
I was thinking 1900s, but
it might even be that. I mean, I'm thinking when they claimed independence, I think Argentina should have been actually in the 1800s. But I might just be mixing it up then, where the actual conflict was of why they were fighting over that. We'll look it up after this, but still, Great Britain, even though it was like far away, they were like fighting for this island just because their people identified as United Kingdom citizens. Like, not even just, even though they were so far away, they was just like, that's a reason. Like, there's two moral reasons why a country would want to fight over an area, because the people identify with you, and then it's like, all right, damn, I gotta back up my people. And then two, because it's like, all right, I mean, it's like, I could take it. So it's like, you know, those islands are really close to Argentina. So it's like, yeah, they should have taken that territory if it wasn't already claimed by United Kingdom. So it's like,
Are the people there like white descendants of English people? Are they?
yeah, they're Timbers.
Okay. There's like, is there very low, if not none, of like Latin, Argentinian descent?
So there's two islands. I looked on Google Maps, and so far what I've seen on Google Maps is that the right island, which is mostly colonized by United Kingdom people or English people, is like, there's a lot more settlements. And I've looked on Google Maps for like the left island, and I haven't seen any settlements. So I don't really know in that regard. I was like trying to find like where like the cities were and stuff like that. But they actually have cities on the right side, because it's two separate islands, but they're both like considered the Falkland Islands. And it's really interesting how a lot of islands around the world are just specifically like, to claim an island, you just need to have a group of people there, and then it's like, now we have a reason to like put our claim to that island, because now you have a moral stance where it's like, oh wow, yeah, our people live there. So it's like a lot of different random islands where it's like really rare or just like isolated. There's like nobody living there. They are still like, there's at least one city, and you can see it on Google Maps, just because it's a sole factor that like, okay, now we have backing. Now we have that reason that like our people identify as so-and-so, or like the United Kingdom. And it's like, yeah, like they'll back up that claim. So then the United Kingdom actually owns that island because the people there identify as such. If they feel like a different reason, you know, maybe, I don't know, if there's like something happening, then yeah, like, you know, or I don't know what I was thinking with like, you know, convincing a population to like go independent or something like that. And then, you know, yeah, like a revolution, like, yeah, something like that would happen, and then it wouldn't be United Kingdom anymore. But still, the point being that that's a being factor for a government trying to help a group of people, or just like in general for their like reason for like claiming that area. Maybe it's they just want that area. Every country wants territory.
Yeah.
More ocean water, more oil possibilities. So yeah.
Is it like, is everyone speak English there?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it like basically just a little England?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or is there any like, does it look different than like if you went to England?
I saw images on Google Earth, and it like, I mean, I've never been to England myself, but I would have assumed that it would have been just like a little England. Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's kind of just like, I mean, England has colonies all around the world. It's just like, I don't know where they actually have other colonies specifically, because they gave up a lot of the shit. I mean,
Do they not have colonies anymore? I thought they gave them what?
yeah, they just have islands at this point, but it's like,
Oh, they still have colonies.
no. I mean, like, they gave up Canada, they gave up India, they gave them up Indonesia.
Yeah, that's crazy. They had Canada and India.
And they had Indonesia and South America.
I guess not all of Canada, right? There's the French there too.
They had all of Canada.
All of Canada?
Yeah. Or a large portion of the time, they had all of Canada. And that's the reason why the United States bought Russia. They bought Alaska, yeah. Because the Russia didn't want the UK to take over Alaska. But, yeah. No, that's pretty interesting. I mean, yeah. The United Kingdom had the biggest empire in the world at one point. They had so much territory that they could have just done like anything. And they gave up some territory to Denmark because they wanted to build relationships, and also because they wanted to stop, they wanted to prevent Germany from growing too strong, or France from growing too strong. So they were really allying that to also extend their power in the mainland Europe. So, no, but yeah. So Dutch is related to English, and I feel like we can understand it.
Damn.
So that's one of the languages, like one of the language groups. We got the Latin languages, and The rest is a mystery to me. I haven't really researched any of the other language, I guess, groups. I mean, I'm assuming like Ukrainian. I don't know.
Those Baltic are probably all like. Is that the Baltic? Am I saying? Is that the right area? Is that how you describe? How do you describe that area? Oh, Eastern
Estonia, Latvia, and those.
Eastern Europe.
So Eastern Europe is divided into the north and the south, and the Baltic Sea is actually on the top, which also confuses me because even though the Baltic Sea is by Sweden, a lot of the Baltic countries are considered on the bottom, which is like Bulgaria, Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina. Sorry, guys, I can't pronounce Bosnia, Herzegovina. I don't know that. And yeah, those are considered a lot of the
Slavic, that's the word.
Yeah, I mean, Slavic, you can consider Estonia and Latvia for also Slavic. But like Baltic-wise, like a lot of people also consider like that the Baltic region where like Bulgaria and then like Greece, Turkey meet, like that kind of area. But yeah.
Gotcha. So that's probably a different language, right?
Greece is different than Turkish, yeah. I mean,
but like their language is probably like how there's the Germanic languages and the Latin languages. They probably have their own.
Yeah, they're
probably right.
I want to say that a lot of they're probably in the same, like Serbian, Croatian, and North Macedonian and Albanian. Those are probably similar in a way, but I don't know because I haven't researched something like that. I only know the countries and how they were brought together to form the what is it called? They formed one country before when the Soviet Union was still a thing, and they wanted to defend against that. Yeah, my country's name, because it was like all those countries came together to form one country. I'm just assuming that they would have had a similar language based on that, but I'm sure they could have had something different, but I don't know specifically.
And then there's Asian languages, and then African languages. I feel like those need to be
so many.
Oh, the Arabic languages.
The Arabic languages, yeah. There's a lot of different languages. Us Europeans.
I'm thinking of like the different groups, or like how you would kind of group the languages together.
There is a lot. You wanna? I mean, I tried like looking it up one time, and I only knew like the Latin and Germanic. That was like literally it. But there's literally so many different like actual like sections of languages. Because it's like, I mean, yeah, there's the Asian, but there's also probably like I think Hindi, there's like a lot of different languages in India.
Oh, yeah?
One is Hindi. Another is like something else. I can't think of the name. I think Hindi is the most popular, so that's why I'm thinking of that. But yeah, there's a lot of different languages, and it's like Africa probably has like so many.
Yeah, I'd imagine they go back, but I feel like they'd probably not all be very similar.
Yeah.
Like, well, South Africa is English, right? But
that's because it was colonized. Yeah. And the country I recently did a video on, Benin.
Where's that in Africa?
That is Africa, yes. It was colonized by France, so they speak French.
Oh, is there a lot of French speaking in Africa?
That I don't know specifically because I've only done research on that one country so far because I really haven't done that much research on like African countries. I still need to like go in depth into it, but it's like, yeah, I know that the only thing I know is like, what is it? One country, I was going to say something else, but that does not make any sense. The Ethiopia. Ethiopia is like the oldest country, or one of the oldest countries in Africa, because it was never colonized. It was one of the only countries that wasn't. So they probably have their own language that's not based on like other countries right now. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other. Sure how to choose?
Nah, this is my alpha.
What the fuck?
Let me say,
My fully loaded alpha nootropic packages. Go in the description. You won't find a link to it. Then,
sorry guys, I just saw the Society of the Snow, and they rip out their teeth in that movie.
Oh,
Have you seen that?
I saw. I hovered over it and I saw it, and the only scene I saw was like they're like, "Yeah, we gotta eat the dead bodies outside."
That's the one. Okay, all right.
And I'm like, "Oh shit!"
I didn't.
I don't know.
I was like, I saw the title inspiring. I was like, oh, it's inspiring.
At least I assume that's what they were talking about. They were like, "We're starving. What are we gonna do?" And it's like, there's plenty of calories and protein outside right now.
So
And they're like, "What you're insane."
basically, it showed like the reasons for why people want to eat a person, and it was like number one. Well, there's a couple of reasons. Your pee turns black
If you eat or don't eat.
if you don't eat, and that's basically a sign of malnutrition. Like you're not eating enough food. I didn't know that was a thing to begin with, and then also, yeah, your teeth and your hair start falling off. None of their hair started falling off, I guess, because they're actors and they don't want to do that. But they showed visibly that they're pulling out their teeth at some scenes. So then I was like, oh, that's nasty as fuck. They're like, yeah, no. So there was like reasons for why they wanted to do that and like stuff like that. They got lucky. It was summertime, like when the movie was like ending, or it was November, which is like considered in the southern hemisphere. November is like summer in Miami, I guess. So that's how they were able to survive. If it wasn't, then they would have died probably.
Oh, you're talking about story-wise.
Story-wise, specifically, yeah, no, I was, but then, yeah, like before I was just talking about like, yeah, like it's like nasty how like all this stuff's happening because you're not eating. And it's like, yeah, it's like you don't want to eat a person. Nobody wants to do that.
You don't?
All right, Jay, I guess I want to do it. And it's like they had like these people that were dehumanizing the people by like, well, you don't see what the people are like, so then let's just like cover that up. Like these two cousins were the ones who were like doing the dirty work, and then everybody else was just like, okay, it's food. I mean, they knew what it was, but they were like,
Yeah, they didn't want to see it.
it's harder to eat.
You see the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just like we see like an animal being butchered from start to finish.
Yeah, and the reason they ended up leaving was because one person was like sacrificed themselves for food. And then at that point, then it was like, all right, that draws the line, and now we're finding an escape. And then some 2-3 guys like left, and then they managed to hike their way through the Andes Mountains and to get to Chile, and then tell the media, because the media gave up, or everybody else gave up on them. They felt they died a while ago.
Wow.
So yeah, it just took that level for them to like, yeah, at that point, crazy though. Like they survived 51 days, and they were gonna let them like leave there, starve there to death. People were shocked that they were just walking back, because they were able to walk back based on like what they were. I mean, they were eating people, but they were still like getting nutrients.
No.
But yeah, it was just crazy. I mean, I guess the landing was also not landing. The crash was also a little miraculous of how he survived compared to other crashes of how it could have gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it was just wild. But yeah, very. They made you follow this one character, and then they killed off that character, and I was so sad. Yeah, but that was the character.
That's based on a true story.
It's based on a true story. That specific plot detail that I mentioned probably was not what they had for the story in real life. I would hope that they did that, because that made it more emotional. I would hope that they made him the main character because of there was a reason for that. Maybe the people who survived told that story and said that he was such a pivotal part of it, but I doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You want to edit that out?
All right, let's end it on cannibalism and
Let's end it on a high note.
yeah, guys. Really, really high with that one. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Carboload.
Thank you for listening.
This has been Cosmic Lumberjack.
And Cade.
Thank you guys for watching.
Peace.